So we've looked at what's happening and why. Before we get into the details, it's really important we spend a few minutes on the principles. We all come from very different backgrounds, very different experiences, and these affect the way that we decide the priorities for our organisation. When we're struggling as a team to come to decisions, it's often because we've forgotten about dealing with these differences. If we get the principles and our objectives right, the decisions flow more easily. This section can be a bit heavy, but please stick with it, as the benefits definitely outweigh the effort. The first and possibly most important principle is agreeing how good you want your organisation to really be. Many people will say they want their organisation to be the best, but what do they really mean by this? For the purposes of this course, we're going to assume that you want to be the best, to be world class. What we mean by this is that you're going to be the best at what you do. This doesn't mean you're going to provide the highest quality service or even achieve the best quality results, because quality costs money and you may not have the resources to achieve everything you want to aspire to. But it also doesn't mean that your organisation isn't essential, quite the opposite. Many not-for-profits achieve a huge impact by delivering some services to some people. For example, you may decide that the greatest need is to provide a basic level of service, or it could be that the basic levels of services are well provided for and you can best meet needs by providing specialist support. You may even choose to decide that you can provide services for, say, 12 months or 2 years, for example, in the case of a natural disaster. So what we mean when we say best or world class is delivering the very best services you can with the resources you have available to the people who need them most. Basic necessities or intimate services are the very highest quality services in the world. This is good enough in many situations. It's all about delivering the best outcomes for every dollar received. By doing this, you aim to achieve the very best results for your beneficiaries. In making this decision, your leadership team explicitly rejects being mediocre or complacent. Each member of the leadership team commits to defining and understanding what being good looks like and to striving to achieve it. And they understand what this means about their personal contribution and if they are willing to make it happen. If this isn't a conversation you've had around the board table, then it's probably one you ought to have before you progress with this course. The next section on strategy will help with this. If you need further incentive to strive to be the best, it's worth remembering that this is part of your formal responsibilities. The legal obligations of directors and officers vary a little bit depending on your organisation structure and across jurisdictions. However, in essence, they are much the same. Directors and officers must exercise their duty with care and diligence and in the best interests of their organisation. This is quite an active definition. While you won't get sued for being mediocre or passive, a board who is not making its best effort is not doing its job. An organisation can only maximise returns if the leadership team drives the organisation well, which means each person is committed to making their best effort and putting the organisation first.